give you some coloring tips with different materials before we get started for the year. That way you are well prepared for all the things. So the first thing I want to show you is crayons. And I have a separate video showing you all the different kinds of crayons that we have out there. But there's two ways you can use crayon. You can use the point of the crayon, or you can use a crayon with no paper on it. So the reason you would use the point of the crayon is to color something small, and you can press a lot harder. So ready? You can color, actually let me do it this way. I'm going to color in a small square because that would be the whole point. So you would color it in. You can press lightly, or you can press hard. Now I always say with crayon, you don't want any sneaky peeky white to show. So what does that mean? Let me show you what sneaky peeky white means. If I was to color like this, do you see how I have white showing? Let's look a little closer. Do you see all that white on there? You don't want that. That's sneaky peeky. So you want to color it in nice and neat all the way to the edges. If you have a bigger area, you can use the side of a crayon. So that would be take a crayon with no paper on it, and you can use the side. Now, this is not good for doing small shapes. This is only for big areas, and you could have some fun and put a texture plate underneath of it. You see how I can't get it too dark here either? So you won't get a dark area using the side of a crayon. Then there's two different markers. There's the skinny marker and the thick marker. So I want to make sure before I show you about coloring, when you use the markers, you have to make sure the lid is on. If you put the lid on like this, it is not on away. The lid's going to fall right off. You want to hear the snap. So ready? Listen closely. Let's see if we hear it. Did you hear that little click? That means it's closed. And then this one, same thing. Ready? Did you hear that click? That means it's closed. I'm going to hold it closer to my microphone. Ready? Okay. So you would use the small marker for smaller areas. You would use the big marker for bigger areas. If you use the skinny marker for this, you're going to have a lot of sneaky peeky white. And you don't want that. So you would only use this on the small area. And then the big marker, you can use the point of it to make something really small, or you can hold it sideways and it'll cover it a little bit quicker. If you start to see white dots showing up in your marker, it means it's drying out. So if it's drying out, you are going to want to keep it upside down. So when we store it, keep it this direction so that all the ink goes to the bottom. And you can dip it in a tiny bit of water and see if that helps. The last thing I'm going to show you right now is the color pencil. So I have two kinds of sharpeners in my room. Three kinds of sharpeners actually. This is the handheld sharpener. Later I will have a totally separate video on how to use the electric sharpener. So the handheld sharpener, there's two holes. Here's the big one and a little hole. Some of you have wider pencils if you're using your regular pencil you brought from class. Color pencils are all this size. You're going to put it in here, push, and turn. Now, if something is stuck in there, just ask me and I will help get it out because sometimes little pencil points get stuck. We do not sharpen our crayons, so do not put a crayon in here, but you can see that the pencil from turning it and pushing hard is coming out. And this is what the electric sharpener will do, but you don't have to turn it. When you're done, you're going to take this over to the trash can and dump it out. Do not dump it out on the floor and do not dump it out on your table. All right, friends, those are some tricks and tips for crayons using the point versus the side, the skinny or thick marker, and the color pencil. Now, color pencil, oops. If you sharpen it too much, it could break like that. Color pencil too. It's harder to do bigger areas. So keep that in mind. Sometimes a big point will break if you sharpen it too much. But it's harder to do big areas. All right, friends. Watch out for that sneaky peeky white. You might have to color over it a few times to get it right. And that is some coloring tips for you.